My name is Alisha Zellner, and I'm originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado, but I currently reside in Fort Collins. The motivation behind Bike Ride for Black Lives is kind of twofold for me. One, it's every day I go out there and I ride my bike and I honor the community and the culture. Two, it's my way of being a part of the community in a way that feels fulfilling and that I'm giving back, not just when I'm in my uniform. I've been a police officer for 6.5 years. I chose to get into law enforcement for a couple of reasons. I was a mental health counselor for 5 years prior, and I worked primarily with adolescents who had behavioral and drug and alcohol abuse issues. And often when they're in crisis, police were the ones who were called. And I felt like I had a unique skill set working inside of a hospital that could be used out there on the streets. And when I started applying for police academies after I finished my first master's, Mike Brown was killed in Ferguson. You had a predominantly black city being patrolled by a predominantly white police force, and there was a call for more people of color in uniform. I thought, Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world, and I wanted to see better. And I could be that person of color in uniform, that people could at least have someone that looked like them. I grew up in a single parent home. My mother was the sole, provider for us. She said to me, while I gave birth to you, I will never understand the things you will go through because of the color of your skin. When I discuss my identities, being a black woman and then also being a police officer, it's like living in two worlds. But actually it's more worlds than that. And it's like living in two worlds that are at war with each other. So when you talk about being biracial alone, you've got not only white and black blood, but you've got what most people would say would be the oppressor and the underprivileged in living in one body. And living in the United States, you can often feel like those two things are at odds with each other. I'm not black enough, I'm not white enough, depending on what I'm doing. And so when you then take my identity as being a black woman and then put that into a blue uniform, there are two more worlds that are at odds with each other, especially when you talk about the conversation in the nation right now. You have the black community who has suffered some atrocities when it comes to, their experiences with law enforcement. And then you've got me who is trying to be a representative in that blue uniform as someone they recognize, but then I've also got on the uniform of what they would consider to be the oppressor. And so it's like tugging at my heartstrings every day, but just hoping that I'm going out there and being that change that I wanted to be. Just 2 weeks before the death of George Floyd, I was training for the Police Unity Tour. And I was just accepted again for the Police Unity Tour for 2022. And at the time, the tour is to honor officers who were killed in the line of duty. And so when George Floyd was killed, it was like, how can I then honor my black community and honor those that were killed with their experiences with law enforcement? After the death of George Floyd is where I started putting all the ideas together, and so June was really the planning month, and then July of 2020 is when the whole thing got launched.
You guys ready? Yeah! I can't hear you! Woo! Yeah!
My name is Jimmy Hawks. I work at Trek Bicycles, and I've been in the bike industry for about 27 years now. I met Alisha about 1.5 years ago through a mutual friend, and we've been working together on her initiatives ever since.
Trying to catch me riding dirty. Woo! Woo! Hey, what's up,
Alicia's
Jimmy?
energy is just infectious. It's hard to find somebody who sees an issue, has an idea on how to fix it, but then has the energy and the follow-through to actually do it.
We can do hard things.
Like Alisha, I'm biracial. I have a white mother of French descent, a black father of American and American Indian descent. Meeting Alisha, meeting somebody who looked like me, who went through the same struggles as me. I grew up in a city that was still racially divided when I lived there. So learning with Alisha came about. She was a new cyclist when she started, and she simply had a lot of questions. She realized that if I'm a new cyclist, I'm trying to get more people like me on a bike. They're going to have questions too.
Tonight, we're going to be talking about how to fix a flat tire.
Now, every tire is going to have the tire pressure written on the side. It's geared towards the community that hasn't necessarily walked into a bike shop recently, or maybe even at all. What I would love to see would be more bike shops in underserved communities. Where I grew up in Richmond, there were no bike shops on the east end of Richmond. By default, I had to learn to work on a bike myself. There's room and opportunity to get other groups of people on bikes and help bridge everybody and bring them together.
For me, the most important event that I organized was the community awareness ride. It was just basically to honor the Black community. Every July, we ride 400 miles, and the 400 miles represents the 400-year fight for racial justice. I really expected maybe 30 people to show up, and I was honored that 200 members of my community showed up. I will never forget that someone came up to me and said, you know, while you put on a bulletproof vest and while you carry a gun and while you go out there every day and your job is very dangerous, this is the bravest thing you'll ever do. And so for me, to see so much of the community and to see so many people come together to just want to ride with me, you know, for the mission and what I had created, that was by far the most important thing I've done in all of this.